guys, welcome to the Big Blue United podcast. My name is TJ. All three of us are here tonight once again. I'm here with Dan and Colin. What's up, boys?
Best
6-1 team in the league right now. Not worst, best.
Who else is 6-1?
I don't know. Are there any?
I don't know. The Eagles I know are 6-0, but I don't know if there's any other
The
team
Bills?
that's 6-1. Bills are 6-1?
I don't know. They lost, right? They lost one game, right?
They did to the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's coming to the point where it doesn't even matter who's playing anymore. We somehow managed to win, and I don't really get it.
I think that's been the running theme of this year is not really understanding what's happening, but being thrilled about it.
Yeah. I don't think anyone really understands, like, across the board, Giants fans or not. It's pretty perplexing.
I like how, regardless of the wins happening, it still seems like there's just the massive divide in the fan base anyway. I think it's going to take like a couple of years for it to shake.
I mean, it seems like it's more like just Daniel Jones is the pariah, it would seem.
Well, let's start with that then.
Let me do my intro because we got a little sponsor this week.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, please remember to follow Big Blue United on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Follow us on Twitter at BBU Podboys with a Z. Download DraftKings. Use promo code TPPN when you sign up. Make us some money. Thanks. Appreciate you. And our sponsor this week is Omega Juicers. My wife and I got nice Omega Juicer. I've been drinking a lot of juice. Feeling ripe and healthy, guys. Couldn't tell you. Waking up every day, starting your day with some delicious, morning juices, drinking some night juices before bed. I'm all into it.
Does it make you feels good?
It makes me feels good. Exactly that. I mean, it's great. It's great for our apartment because it's nice and compact, fits well, in Brooklyn apartment. It uses something called slow speed cold press juicing, which helps reduce heat and air exposure to preserve vitamins, minerals, enzymes, and oxidants. It's super quiet, easy to clean. And when you're done juicing, the pulp comes out totally dry. So you're getting your bang for your buck, not wasting anything there. So do yourself a favor, pick one up at omegajuicers.com. It's omegajuicers.com. Yeah, Omega Juicers. I like that. Nice. That sounds like at work we call the girls who get dudes to buy them shots juicers.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Omega Juicers. Yeah. But Colin, let's hop in. You want to talk about your boy Daniel Jones?
I mean, it's the same thing again. Maybe he had some more yards than he normally does, and he ran like a crazy person. I mean, just the fact that I don't know, his yardage is in the same conversation as running backs is absurd for him. Yeah, he's playing great, but it's still not like, I don't know. There's entirely too many people out there who think all right, open the checkbook, give him as much as he wants. That doesn't make any sense to me. However, what I noticed about this game, as opposed to, or maybe it's been building up until this point, but it really kind of shone through to me, is even if it's not spectacular, he's playing with a confidence that I don't think I've ever seen before. And you see that with even his body language and what's happening. I mean, he can't not get pissed off at everybody not being able to catch the ball. I mean, if Eli was out there, he'd be pissed off that no one's catching the ball. And you can't blame him. But it's nice to see that he's got a little bit of fire in him. And it seems that he's able to do the things that you should expect an NFL quarterback to do more consistently now than he has in the past. So spectacular or not, I mean, it's good. He's building. So I'm not going to say he's our guy for the next 10 years, but he's making progress. So I'm happy with that.
I agree. I think, Dan made a great point last week, and just that, if you, in the context of the games you watch Jones play in, he plays well. He's fun to watch. He is improving. He's a tough kid, man. You can't take that away from him ever. But when you compare him around the league, it's just not in the upper echelon of people you want to pay, long-term deals, $40, $50 million a year. That being said, I don't want to take anything away from Jones. I thought he was, played his best game of the season this week. The first drive the Giants had was just awesome. After watching that drive, I was like, if Jones can do this consistently, drives like that, then I want him on this team getting paid as much as it takes. 6 for 7, 65 yards. Capped it off with that beautiful touchdown pass to Slayton. He did a great scramble when he stepped up in the pocket, which I think is something that we lamented for a while, that he wasn't really stepping up in the pocket and seeing the whole field. 19 for 30, 200 yards, touchdown, 11 carries for 107 yards, TD on the ground. That being said, the vast majority of Jones's passes were like 7 yards or less. He only had 103 yards through the air. Receivers had 99 yards after the catch. So, while Jones is improving too, you have to, the Giants offense is doing just enough to win these games. I just want to see them, come out and be more convincing and not scrape by, because, the offense is doing everything it has to do to win games by 3 points or 4 points. I will give Jones the excuse that the receivers are bad. That Marcus Johnson drop in the end zone was horrendous. Slayton had a few drops too. I think, everybody had drops. And I agree with you, Colin. I loved seeing him pissed off, because he should be pissed off, because he was having the best game of his career and his supporting cast wasn't doing anything to help him out. But before, Dan, you go, I want to ask you guys a trivia question. So first time Giants had 200-yard rushers in the same game since 2010. Who were those two rushers? You're muted, Dan.
So, Brandon Jacobs and Danny Ware.
Brandon Jacobs is one.
And
it's
Ward.
easy. Come on.
Ward.
No, not Ward. The other guy.
Not Bradshaw.
There you go.
Oh, see, I thought that was too obvious. I wasn't.
I know it was very obvious, but I looked up the numbers. I was like, they played the Vikings. Jacobs had 116 yards and 14 carries and touchdown. Bradshaw has 103 yards and 11 carries and touchdown. So they were just gashing that day.
Well, I love that. They were just over 100 too. That's just so Giants. It couldn't have been 150 and 120. It's no, just just over there.
Yeah.
Dan, do you want to do give us your thoughts on Daniel Jones?
Yeah. The thing that strikes me about the whole Daniel Jones thing, and it's going to be an ongoing discussion forever, and there's valid points on either side, I guess. And we've said we're all on the same page, the three of us, I think, in what we want and what we think the coaches want is that elite talent at quarterback, and to always strive for that, because I think it's shown out that that's the truest marker of continued and consistent success in the NFL right now. But what this reminds me a lot of is sort of an Alex Smith type scenario, you saw in Kansas City, a guy that could get you in the playoffs and be competitive at each level, but having someone like Patrick Mahomes behind him with that super high ceiling
and voice.
And super high voice, right, is what you want. Sure, you could have a good competitive team that could be in the mix and might win a lot of games, but I don't think you're going to have a truly dangerous team, a team people are scared to play, until you have someone with skills that Daniel Jones just doesn't have. And again, I don't know who we're talking to, who listens to this pod. We're not taking away from him saying he's playing poorly. I think we're realizing he's playing really well, and I think to the best of his abilities. I think we're seeing him maxed out right now, and maybe that's not fair because he's only been in the system for 7 games, and maybe there's some more to go. But I don't know. I think they're getting everything they can at him, which is awesome. And if he can play that consistently, we'll have fun watching this team, and they'll be competitive. But we won't have that dominant, fear factor with him at quarterback, I don't think.
It's interesting that if he continues on this trajectory too, the fan base is just going to be, even if they've not even been insufferable up until this point, it's going to get even worse. And I don't want it. I want to win, and I want him to do well. I don't know.
You don't believe in him moving forward, really?
I think it's franchise tag kind of situation. If they
Agreed.
if they automatically re-sign him at the end of the season, I think that's foolish. I mean, I can't say that now because who knows what the next however many games are going to go, and maybe we end up in the playoffs and he ends up blowing up and like catching fire. Like that's great, but I don't know.
That's how Eli broke out. Really, he was breaking
Well,
out in the playoffs.
How funny would it be if he ends up just the same kind of development and like just so we've been making fun of him for sounding like Eli and like presenting himself the same way. I don't think he's nearly as funny, and that's a detriment to him. I mean, we're seeing now that Eli has had a personality more than anyone realizes. He didn't want to show it.
Did
to
you
the
see
media.
Daniel Jones' locker room speech?
I
Where
actually
they're like,
didn't.
give a speech, and
Oh,
he's
it was like 2 seconds. Right?
on to Seattle.
Yeah.
Giants on 3. I was like, man, you were just the leader of men for sure. Very charismatic individual.
Super fun.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Maybe that there's some sort of a comfort in that for a lot of the players in the locker room, that they feel like he's one of them and not so much the guy on the pedestal. That might help.
Sure. I mean, I think the franchise tag, you brought that up. I think before the season we said that if Jones did play well, which we were hoping would happen, and I think is happening now. I mean, maybe not comparatively to the upper echelon quarterbacks, but comparatively to how he used to play, he's playing a lot better. I think we said it's a $12 million, flyer you take because the franchise tag was $12 million more than his 5th-year option. So, I mean, I think you're running into the problem now where people are going to be like, well, you have to franchise Saquon because he's playing so well. You can't franchise Daniel Jones. You have to, and I want to get into Saquon because I don't think he had a good game at all. I really don't. I mean, he had 100 yards. That's cool. But through 3 quarters, it was 14 carries for 38 yards. He was dancing behind the line all game. I don't know if you saw, and particularly the most egregious one, I think was it
was like
3rd and
5-yard
2.
loss.
There's 3rd and 2 in the 3rd quarter when they're near the end zone, and he just danced behind the line and fell over. If he just ran convincingly forward into the pile, they probably would have scored, and then they ended up turning it over on downs that time. There was like 3 or 4 other times I just saw him, instead of hitting the hole, just dancing around back there. It worked for him one time in the 4th quarter. That's when he got, that big chunk of yards, and he did make some cool moves. I just wish, it just reminded me of the Saquon of old and not the guy who has been hitting the hole. Like, he has great moves, but you need to use those moves on the second level. You don't do them behind the line of scrimmage, especially when you have a decent, competent blocking. I realized, 2 of the starting offensive linemen went out with injuries.
Was a big part of it.
Yeah, but I mean, then I think the play calling should be adjusted, and he should not be trying to do everything himself, hit a home run every play. It was just, one of those games where you look at him play and you're like, run forward, dude. Please run forward.
Did the broadcasting say, because I didn't really look at Jaguars numbers, but their run defense was pretty decent, correct?
Yeah. They had one of the, I think, top 10 run defense.
So maybe that was in his head. I feel like it's possible that every once in a while his knee kind of like pops up and says, hey, remember what happened to this thing? And he starts like taking business decisions on certain plays. It didn't seem like that was the case for a while there, but when you see the dancing like that, it just kind of makes me think he's looking to shy away from getting absolutely slammed every single play, which, I mean, I get as a running back, you want to avoid that, but I don't know. I mean, the blocking just could have not been there too.
It wasn't as good as it has been, but it was. Yeah. I still don't think it was bad. I mean, maybe the run blocking was a little worse than the pass blocking this game, but I mean,
especially. Go
ahead. Go ahead.
No.
Okay, I was just gonna say, when you don't want to get hit, that's great. If you're gonna run out of bounds in the 4th quarter when you're trying to run out the clock so you don't get hit, then that's a problem. Which was, I don't understand why people were saying that he was in bounds when he got tackled, because he clearly was out of bounds, so obviously out of bounds. So it's just, one of those Giants Twitter things where I just kind of scratch my head and I'm like, just because he's on your team doesn't mean he doesn't make mistakes. And just because you love him so much doesn't mean he's like not going to screw up from time to time. That was a huge screw up, and they almost lost him the game. The Giants, after the game, Daboll said it, they made it harder on themselves than it had to be. And that was partially the reason why it was harder on themselves than they had to be.
Yeah. I think the thing that we keep coming back to about like people always siding with the Giants players, or at least that faction of fans always siding with the player and saying like, he's on our team, I'm going to root for him. Like that line. Yeah, like on a certain level, we're always going to root for the guys on our team, but I suggest you invite an extra layer of criticality to the way you review the team. I think it offers a more in-depth relationship with your fandom to be able to sort of criticize. Like, obviously you can't do it better. You're not a running back, you're not a coach, but the whole fun of it is like thinking about it as hard as you can and wondering what they could do better. Like, we're not saying we're experts here, but have fun with it. Like, stop just being like, no, we got to support the team. It doesn't matter what you do as a fan. Like, you can do whatever you want.
If Tom Brady was the quarterback of the Giants, do you think everyone would love him that was a New York fan? Because I would never root for the guy. I hate him. I wouldn't care if he was quarterback of the Giants. I'd be mad at every game. I would.
That is a nightmare. I'm glad that we will never have to live through.
Agreed.
Yeah. But it's just that whole thing. It's like when things go well, like when it went well with previous regimes, it's like in Jerry Reese, we trust. In Eli, we trust. Like, we don't trust them. Like, they're liable to screw it up like super bad next year. And then you look like a jerk. Like, we don't trust Daniel Jones. Like, we don't trust Saquon. Like, you gotta earn it, and you can't earn it like that. I don't know.
Well, Dan, you remember what Big Blue United was called before it was called Big Blue United?
Yeah, I remember.
Reese, we trust.
Yeah. and I think that was retroactively, conditioned afterwards on what that was about. So, take that as a lesson. You got to learn from your mistakes. No blind allegiances just because at the end of the day we won. That's just retrograde and reductive, I think.
In Shane, do we trust?
I mean, relatively, yeah, like infinitely compared to his predecessor, as I would say, his despicable predecessor. I trust with like the life of my children compared to predecessor.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I don't know why I didn't read the article, but I just saw it randomly. When asked about the Gettleman tenure, David Tyree just had one word: disgusting.
Yeah.
That's right. He knows.
That might be the whole article. I'm
Dave Sgusting.
Yeah.
Dave Sgusting. More on offense, guys. I mean, I think we should mention Giants 6-1 for the first time since 2008, which is awesome. That was the year Plaxico shot himself and ruined everything for everyone.
That team was dominating, though.
That team was the best team in the league. And all I want to know is, what club can you go to wearing sweatpants? I'm just thinking about this right now. I don't know.
Actually,
what was it called? Like,
it was the
Spanish Harlem or something?
No, it was the Latin Quarter or something.
Latin Quarter,
like
yeah.
I bet I couldn't wear sweatpants the Latin Quarter, but Plaxico can.
He's not the wide receiver for the Super Bowl Giants.
Steve and I actually had this conversation this past weekend about the night that he decided to go in the sweatpants, and like, how was he holding the pistol? Was it like, you know how pockets in sweatpants are? Were they like deep pockets, or were they like those?
I think it was in the waistband, and it fell through the waistband, and he went to grab it, and that's what happened.
Grab it by the trigger.
Grab it right by the trigger, just how you're supposed to.
But when he's dressing for the night, all right, I'm bringing my pistol. Definitely sweatpants. Definitely.
Yeah.
Like, why?
I don't know, dude. Should we talk a little about? I do want to bring up Wandale.
Maybe it was like an impromptu purchase. Maybe before they got to the club, they stopped somewhere.
You can't buy. Where are you going to buy a gun in New York? Impromptu.
Football players would know.
Know a guy. You
got a gun guy?
Yeah.
He had a great offer. Picked up that firearm and was like, "Oh, we got to get to the club now. We can't be late."
That cereal
pop this in my pants.
Leave it in the car. I don't know.
Have one of your friends hold it.
Ridiculous. Do you want to talk Wandale a little bit?
Yeah.
Because in my mind, big waiver wire pickup this week.
I mean, if you're in soft leagues, I guess, but
I don't know. I mean, he's already off the board in our league, so somewhere out there, and not a 12-team league, he's getting picked up a lot. But I mean, he looked like the only guy who can really consistently catch the ball That juggling grab on the first drive, I think, kind of proved that. Averaging 6.5 yards after the catch, 39 of his 50 yards came after the catch. So I think we finally did get to see, what he can do in space. And I really liked it. I'm thinking that, this guy is your number one wide receiver moving forward. I mean, that's not a great thing, but with Bellinger, with the injury to the eye and the septum, how he broke his eye socket and septum on that play, I don't know, because it just looked like he got poked in the eye really badly. But I mean, that injury was super scary. I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
Yeah,
blood
these guys
coming
are
out your
strong
eye
with big hands,
Yeah. I mean, it's freaky coming around the helmet from the back right here.
Yeah,
that's wild.
Well, for damn sure that he's going to be wearing a visor for the rest of his career.
You know it. Never let that happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what the Giants are supposed to do at wide receiver. I mean, Marcus Johnson coming up from the practice squad, he was just awful. Bellinger's going to be out for a couple weeks, maybe the whole season. They need to do something, because if they're going to keep surging and winning games, Jones needs help, throwing the ball, unless they're just going to, move to, running the ball 40 times a game and throwing it 10 times a game instead of, whatever they're doing now.
Ooh.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
Slayton, had a better game.
Yeah, I mean, but he's still not reliable, man. The drops they're too often, and they're always in big moments too.
Yeah. Get him some, high grade gloves. Maybe give him a new pair of gloves for every offensive possession.
Yeah, get him the ones Evan Ingram was wearing when he was playing this game.
That really pissed me off. And especially he's waving to the crowd. You know what? You lost.
You live in Jacksonville.
Yeah, you live in an armpit country.
He did make Julian Love look real silly on one play. But other than that, that waving goodbye with the Giants have a plus 26 point differential in the fourth quarter, and you're waving goodbye at the beginning of it.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
It was only what, there was 14 minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
It's like, if you clearly didn't watch any film in this team, because they're terrible in the first half and really good in the second half. So dumb. I mean, what else you guys want to hit on offense? I don't really know what to talk about the offensive line, but maybe just mentioned Neal looks like MCL sprain. Brendison, I don't know what the injury is, but they're both going to miss multiple weeks. Ezeudu and Tyler Phillips came in. They played okay.
Yeah. I
mean, that it's just the same theme from the rest of the games this year. Andrew Thomas is an all-pro, and everybody else is serviceable at best. But I think we're gonna look to see Nick Gates back this week. I would think, if he's ready.
Cool.
I mean, I felt like he was intentionally trying to get into the camera shot as much as possible, because I saw him all game behind Dable, him looking like an 80s metalhead with his hair out and looking like he was ready to get out there with no pads on. Yeah, I'm pumped to see what he can do. I mean, you saw that, what was it, last week? He was taking some snaps at center, giving Feliciano a breather here and there. So it's good to see that he's at least getting some burn.
Yeah. I mean, I think one thing this offensive line has truly been missing is belly boys. So we need the return of a belly boy at least, and then maybe Shane Lemieux at some point. But
what's up with him anyway? Do we have any info on Shane Lemieux at all?
I don't think his belly's up to snuff right now. I think he's
just skinny. He's putting weight back on now.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay. Well, hopefully he'll be ready before the season ends too, because that'll be nice to have some guys with a little more athleticism come into those positions, and not have Brendison and Feliciano as much as we appreciate them playing as well as they are. We definitely need upgrade.
That'd be nice as backups. Line. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. 100%.
I will say Ezeudu looked pretty good in the run game. He's
great at pulling,
flying around, like he punishes dudes.
Yeah.
Is he also good at going off his block and going around the tackle and blocking someone on the outside?
That's what Colin just said. He's good at pulling,
and also going around the outside.
Yes.
Whatever.
Yes,
Screw you guys.
I would see. Sometimes it's so dry that like I don't even know that's where we're going. But yes,
I'm in a dry manner of speaking today. I think it's because I drank a bunch of beers last night till 2 a.m, and I hadn't done that in, I don't know, 8 months. So I'm feeling a little like a little downtrodden today because of it.
I haven't done that in like 8 years. It's so
Yeah,
sad.
well, I'm in the alcohol industry.
You're in the
so
biz. You're
It's
in the
just how
biz.
life is sometimes,
Jealous.
But I've cut down. I'm a good boy now.
Yeah.
it's good.
You have to. You have to when you
Moderation's
get
good.
old. Yeah, Colin's officially in his late 30s, by the way. Happy birthday,
dude.
Colin.
Super
Thank
old.
you. It's 37 is a very nondescript year. Pretty lame.
It's a good year to not drink beers till 2 a.m.
Probably
on a Sunday.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
it's a
you're
good
off
one.
on Mondays though, so
Yeah, this is my only day off for a
Yeah.
while, actually, because, well, anyway, I'll tell you after. But defense, guys, should we hop into defense?
yeah.
Hop into the defense?
Is that another sexual joke we're not getting?
No, I'm just
Oh.
rambling.
Defense.
Dan, talk to me. Talk to me, Dan.
I think it was more of a down game for the defense this week. The Jags have some skill. I think Travis Etienne is emerging as a good running back, and we haven't had a strong run defense, so far all season. I think we talked about it previously, but that might be sort of like a pick your poison type thing. We'll let you beat us on the ground, and we'll eliminate the deep, explosive plays. But so he had a good game. Trevor Lawrence, I think he threw for over 300 yards.
Barely.
He was all right, but got at him, disturbed him. Kept them below 20 points. Right? What was the final score? I don't remember. I got it right here.
Yeah, this is
Jesus.
I'd forgot.
17 points.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's definitely some deficiencies in our defense. I think our linebackers are exposed a little bit. Like we said in the running game, giving up the edge, giving up some chunk plays. The down four are looking better and better. A shame that Sexy Dexy got that sack taken away.
We need to talk about the officiating after we talk about the defense for sure. Yeah.
But I mean, I like what I saw with them in particular. I think Kayvon is having more and more of an impact every game. I feel like he's getting held all the time. You can see it on all the playbacks.
Every play.
I mean, obviously there's a degree of holding on every play, no matter what, but like they're having a harder and harder time keeping him under wraps and keeping him from at least affecting the quarterback, which is awesome. Because I think early on when the first few starts, we were sort of wondering, oh no, he's fat and unathletic. What happened? He's playing himself into shape, guys.
Yeah. Okay.
And he's under Colin's workout tutelage. I guess it's going well.
I'm glad you brought this up because I do have a question for you guys it's more of an observation. I'm wondering if I'm right or not. At the end of the game, the Giants kept taking timeouts when the Jaguars were on offense, and they kept showing Kayvon just like on a knee, chugging water, like breathing super heavily. And I was like, were they burning those timeouts because like he was gassed and they wanted to give him a breather? Because I'll be honest, man, I don't know if he's hit the garage gym at Dan's house yet, but we really need to get him a 6-pack and ready to go, ready for the long haul. Although he did run down. He did have that nice run down.
That was great. He didn't even look like he was moving fast when he did that too.
Yeah, I think I think he needs to get on the treadmill maybe.
So we should take away the 6-pack, and he should earn another 6-pack. Is what you're saying?
He's in the nether zone. He either needs to get full on belly boy or get shredded.
Yeah.
He needs to either put on a bunch. He's in the middle right now. You got to decide.
Yeah.
And if Dexter Lawrence is out there at 6'5", 350 pounds, not huffing and puffing, what's your excuse?
Yeah. I wonder what it is. But yeah, Dan, I mean,
I bet all like those red flags from the draft is that he smokes a pack a day. He's like he's an old school guy.
You know how awesome that would be. Actually,
he looks. I bet he smells like cigarettes. I bet that outfit he had on in the earlier season.
He sits at McDonald's and drinks coffee all day and smokes
Yeah.
cigs, eats Big Macs like a 80-year-old Polish woman in Greenpoint.
He's
Not
at
that you can smoke inside anymore, but you know what I'm saying.
He's at like a Greek diner on the turnpike with those little coffee cups with
the blue ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do agree with you, Dan. You know, the Giants currently are dead last in rush yards allowed. But it doesn't seem to matter. They give up, you know, chunk plays, big yards, but it seems like in all the big moments, they just really step up. And, you know, the third game in a row, they made a big play on defense, you know, to ice the game. I mean, maybe in a different circumstance than we saw against the Ravens and the Packers with the deflected passes and the interception, but still a huge play by the defense that, you know, huge stop towards the end zone right as time was going to expire. And I think the most important things that you have to remember is that really they're getting so much out of this group and the numbers aren't great and the Giants don't always look good, but they're 6th best in scoring defense, 5th best in third down stops. So when it's important, they're there and they're making the stops and they're doing what they have to do to win. It's fun. It's a fun unit, man. And I love that the pass rush is starting to pick up. Yeah. Oh, baby.
And
fun unit.
He's literally turned into the island of Dr. Moreau, ripping it up over there.
He was playing well. No chance Aaron Robinson is getting that starting job back.
No, it's not happening. I just love that we picked this guy up randomly and he's just like, all right, throwing you in there, and then you're just performing off the bat. It's crazy.
There's also Nick McLeod had a good game in limited action. I think Quincy Roche only had like 3 or 4 snaps, but you know, he made an impact in an extremely limited amount of time he was in there. Landon Collins, who just came off the street, had a decent game. You know, he can definitely still tackle. We'll give him that. So yeah, I mean, you know,
Adoree Jackson made some big plays.
I mean, I was thinking more just like some of the lower, the no-name guys, and like just being able to come in from the practice squad or off the street or whatever it is, free agency, trade.
Here's my question: why are all these multi-million-dollar football players hanging out on the streets when they're not, you know, signed to a team? Do you think they're in their palatial estates, or are they just?
Oh, they're literally on the streets. They're just hanging out there, like
because they're always signed off the streets.
It's kind of like that NBA 2K universe, you know. It's sort of like that.
They're either on the streets or on the couch. I guess we should stipulate that.
They're in the metaverse street.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. F that guy.
Hey, you know who I just thought of?
Who?
Mark Herzlich. Remember him?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking
he had cancer, right?
Yeah.
And then he beat it.
If he wasn't signed, he would be in the gym. He wouldn't be on the streets or on the couch. He'd be working back.
He's in the gym right now. He's not in the NFL anymore, and he's in the gym. I guarantee it.
He belongs on the Detroit Lions staff, I think.
Yeah,
him and Dan Campbell.
He does look like it.
He looks like he could bite a couple of kneecaps.
Yeah,
for sure.
Right off.
Yeah.
Let's touch on the officiating before we talk a little Seahawks. And we did mention Kayvon getting held what seemed like 90% of the dropbacks. I mean, how was the Dexter Lawrence roughing the passer, but then Jones was hit in a slide by Cisco and there was no penalty there? I just don't like sometimes when the officiating is bad, like at least they do it to both teams, but this just seemed like a lopsided effort against the Giants a lot of the time. I didn't like it at all. I think everyone who watched this game would agree.
Well, that last minute of the game was atrocious.
So many penalties. Yeah, they're just throwing flags. I mean, it's just bad officiating. You know when to flag when you're supposed to throw the flag, and if it's like, I don't know, let the guys play to some degree, right?
Yeah, I think the most powerful man in the NFL, Jerry Jones, might be behind it. I'm sure he goes down to Mar-a-Lago all the time, takes a quick stop at Jacksonville, greases the palms of those guys, and says, "Hey, when the Giants come to town, let's really hose them." I think that's probably what happened.
Do you think that that Jerry already knew DeSantis, or do you think he got his number from Tom Brady?
No, Jerry's the one who's getting the migrants from Texas to go on the plane for DeSantis.
He's in cahoots.
And Tom's doing what in all of this?
Tom's texting DeSantis that he's a big fan of his. He loves
Tom's waiting at the line for the airplane and just sack whacking them as they get on.
Yeah. Because that is true. I did send something today to the group text, our group text, that Tom Brady and DeSantis are texting back and forth. Probably child pornography would be my guess.
I can't say for sure, but probably.
You heard it here first, guys. Since real facts and information don't actually matter, Tom Brady and Ron DeSantis are running a child pornography ring, and it's 100% true.
Yeah.
I have no sources to back it up, but you do your own research, all right? That's not why we're here.
I heard they also have a hacker farm in Russia where they're working on stealing vote technology for all the election voting kiosks coming up in a week.
They're all hacked when you try to vote for Joe Biden. It's just child pornography comes up.
Guys, I was thinking, like, I know how this came about, and I was just thinking about it the other day. The "Let's Go Brandon" thing is quite literally the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Stupid.
The origin of it is so irrelevant and so stupid. Oh, it makes me so angry. It makes at least come up with something funny. Like you can come up with so many funny things if you're just gonna say "F you" to someone. Let's go, Brandon. Oh,
and now Dark Brandon is a
I don't even know about that.
I hate politics so much.
It's the worst. It's the worst.
They just legalize weed already. Maybe
Everywhere.
Just relax.
Yeah.
Seahawks, guys.
Mandate it.
Mandated marijuana smoking.
Yeah.
The opposite. Let's do some Seahawks, guys. What are your guys' feelings going into this game? Because I mean,
Geno revenge game.
Yeah.
Giants have proved they can win any game against any team in my mind. So I don't think Geno Smith is the answer to taking down the Giants. Also, if I look at, I want to say the Seahawks are a pretty surprising team, though. If the Giants are like the most surprising team, Seahawks are maybe number 2 or 3. If you want to throw the Jets into the convo.
Sure, 4-3. Those are the top 3.
Yeah, 4-3, leading the NFC West. Who would have thought that before the season started, But I think this is going to be an easy one for the Giants, honestly. Giants are going to this game with the number 1 rushing attack. Seahawks. Yeah, Giants are going in with the number 1 rushing attack against the 29th ranked rushing defense the Seahawks have. I think the Giants are going to run, and they're going to run all over them. And I think it's going to be fun to watch, and it's going to be an old school type football game because I think the Giants on the other side of the ball, Kenneth Walker last week had 168 yards, 2 touchdowns, 23 carries, 28.8 fantasy points. I knew that because I won. But yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a run the ball defensive sort of game, and I think that plays right into what the Giants do best. And I think they're going to win with ease. You know what? I take it back. They're going to win by 3 points in the fourth quarter. Excuse me. Can't get that wrong.
Yeah.
Are we going to win with the defense on the field or with the offense on the field?
I think you always win with the defense on the field now.
Okay.
I don't
Close
know.
them out.
This just smells like a loss to me.
That's how I felt about the Jags game. I was like, I think this is the one, but I was wrong. So now I'm just going to have supreme confidence.
Well,
it's what's necessary.
Also, thanks. Never won in Jacksonville. First time ever. That was a weird stat.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
First time Giants won in Jacksonville. No idea why that is.
David Garrard had a number, man.
Oh yeah, right. No, or
Byron.
Fat Byron Leftwich. Yeah. Fat By.
Fat By is the next column. Guys, what do you think? You think Giants are going to win this game or what?
I don't know. I feel like I have a lot of bad memories of them traveling out west to that stadium. You got to watch out for the 12th man.
The 13th man.
The 12th man, and the 13th man is the guy that's piping the extra sound of the PA system.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. I think Geno's playing well. I think he's going to have revenge, on his mind. But run games don't typically scare you. But I guess you have to account for the fact that the teams that they beat, like they won some pretty big games. They put up a lot of points a few times. They put up like 40 plus points against the Colts, who had a good defense at the time. I feel the same way as I felt the previous weeks. I have no idea what's going to happen. I feel like they are gonna be in the game.
Yeah.
And if I have to guess, I think it's going to be close. I don't think it's going to be a blowout either way.
Yeah, I don't. I think a majority of the wins, if not all of the wins we're going to have this season, are going to be within 3 to 5 points every single time.
So the score is definitely going to be 2017, 24, 20, 27, 24, something
1,000%.
along those lines.
Yep. And
Yeah,
it can
like-
go either way.
yeah.
It could be them winning or us winning. That's how I look at it.
Is DJ going to throw for over 200 yards? Is my favorite question.
201.
201, not too much.
I think he'll throw for 201 and he'll run for 202.
Yeah, that's fair. He's going to drive down.
202.
He's going to drive down 202, and he doesn't have anything to do.
Oh, whoop whoop.
But I don't know. I think Jones will have, a typical Jones game. If he could throw for 300 yards, I would be like, I'd feel good. But I don't think that's in the cards. I think a lot of play action passes and scrambles and Saquon Barkley, we're going to see a lot of that.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't quite understand why we've not really seen Saquon used more as just a legitimate wide receiver at this point.
It is not a question, Colin, but excuse me. I mean, I have all the faith in the world in this coaching staff. So if they think that that's not going to give them success, then I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't. But that's the offense they're calling, and it's been working just well enough to be 6-1.
It's just interesting because you can throw someone like Matt Breida or even Gary Brightwell in that sense back there with him split out often. You can do it, and then you do the motion into the backfield. He goes back and I don't know. I don't know. It's interesting.
I'm a huge Gary Brightwell fan, so I want to see him more. I'm going to get his jersey, I think.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'm going to get his jersey, and I'm going to wear it 10 years from now.
Nice.
And people are going to think my last name is Brightwell because they have no idea who that is.
Oh, poor guy.
That's okay. You know how it goes. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. I don't know.
Ooh, imagine.
Yeah. Anything else tonight, guys? You wanna go over or?
Yeah, guys, I want to go over this. Ready for this?
Yeah.
What does this sound like to you?
It's so bad. Are you actually playing guitar right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah!
Oh, the harmony.
That sounds like a song
It's really
from
out of tune.
our high school band. Oh, I was out of tune. Yeah, that's why it sounds bad. Yeah.
Actually, was that even? Yeah, that was like 9th grade, probably.
You showed me that riff at Jess Scarfone's basement at a house party.
Okay, so yeah, 9th, 10th grade. That sounds right.
I wonder
10th
how
grade.
Jess Scarfone's doing.
I think TJ, you were dating her at the time.
I probably was.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for listening tonight, guys. Please, I don't, yeah, we're just
Please don't-
rambling about
please don't
total
listen to
nonsense. Total nonsense. I was first, though, Colin. Please follow Big Blue United on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. BBU Podboys with the Z on Twitter. DraftKings, download the app, promo code TPPN. Don't forget to check out OmegaJuicers.com and check out Last Action Hero. Great band
We're sick
from
riffs.
the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, guys. Have a good night.